She printed out a script for you.
Yeah, I saw that.
The mics are live, we're recording, and you are welcome to start.
Right. It is 4 p.m. and I'm calling the meeting of the Board of Building Regulation Appeals to order. Recording secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you, Chair Cooper. Board Member Gordon.
Here.
Board Member Lawson.
Here.
Board Member Miller.
Here.
And Chair Cooper.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all board members are present.
All righty. Remote participation under AB 2949 if needed, and apparently it is not. So approval of minutes. So we have the draft minutes of October 18th, 2023. Does anyone have any changes to the minutes? I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Further discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes for October 18th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
I know you're supposed to roll call that, but I figured this was easy.
You're fine with that. Mhm.
Okay, now we have the July 17th, 2024 minutes. Anyone have any changes to those minutes? Substantial. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second motion.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Recording secretary, do we have any public comment on item 3, approval of minutes?
Seeing no one in the room, I would say no.
Okay. All right. Great. We are now taking public comments on item number 4, non-agenda matters. This is the time when any person may address the board on matters not listed on this agenda, which are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Recording secretary, can you please provide instructions to the public if you have any?
Seeing no one in the room, I think we're good to move on from that one. Thank you. If you could just close public comment period.
So I'd like to close the public comment period.
Thank you.
So the first item of business is we have to elect some officers. So the chair is announcing that we will be moving into the chair election. The chair will ask for someone to make a motion for the nomination of chair and call for a second. Once the item is seconded, we will call a vote. And then we take the
I nominate David Cooper as the chair for the upcoming year.
I'll second that.
Any further nominations? This nomination was made by Craig Lawson and seconded by John Gordon. I want to ask the recording secretary for a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chair. Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Lawson,
Yes.
Board Member Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Cooper.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we are moving on to the vice chair election. We have a nomination for vice chair.
I'll nominate Craig Lawson. I'll second that.
Any further nominations? It's been moved by John Gordon and seconded by Eric Miller that Craig Lawson be the vice chair. Recording secretary, please take the votes.
Thank you, Chair. Board Member Gordon,
Yes.
Board Member Lawson,
Aye.
Board Member Miller,
Here.
and Chair Cooper.
Aye.
Thank you. Let the reflect that all board members say aye.
Alrighty. Now we are moving on to the first scheduled item. This is the response to an appeal of an administrative notice in order to vacate resulting from multiple violations of health and safety regulations occurring upon certain real property located at 961 Stony Point Road. APN 035-121-052 in the city of Santa Rosa. Luke Clerk is going to do a presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Cooper and members of the board. My name is Luke Kirk. I'm the Assistant Chief Building Official for the city. My roles include the overseeing of permit services and code enforcement. This is a code enforcement matter, and it involves, as you mentioned in reading the title, an appeal of a notice in order to vacate upon a residential property. So I want to go into a little bit of background on the property. 961 Stony Point Road is a 0.35 acre residential property situated near the intersection of Stony Point and Sebastopol. And I'm going to, if I may share my screen now,
Yes, you may.
I'm going to go ahead and give you a visual of where this property is within, excuse me. There we go. I'm going to give you a visual of where this property exists within the city. Let me try to make some room here. There, if you can see that, I'll go a little larger. Not that large. This is an aerial view of the property. Just for further reference, as we're going through, I wanted you to be able to picture where in the city it is. This property was developed in, I think, 1989 and has been through several redevelopments since then. And since 1995, the subject has been the subject of several code enforcement cases, mostly stemming from a chronic failure to adequately maintain the property. As you can see in the aerial, there's an unintended bit of evidence there as to the state of the property. So moving on, code enforcement in October of last year received notification from the city's water department that water service had been terminated for the property. This violates several codes regarding housing, not the least of which is 17920.3 of the California Health and Safety Code. I'm not going to go into detail on all of the sections cited here, but they all support the notion that a house without water is not habitable. So that's a key takeaway here. In their appeal, the appellant makes several statements, and I'm gonna just read those and respond to them one at a time. The appellant's first statement is that, quote, "The premises is fine and safe for our occupancy. Our property is well maintained, sanitized, comply with health and safety code. We are happy living there," close quote. I have, let me move away from this for a moment and move to some photographs. These are photos that were taken bear with me. We're a little slow today, but here we go. These are photographs that were taken on the day that the property was posted. And I would just like to go through them and give you an idea of what our code enforcement staff saw on that day. Given these photos, I would like to rebut the appellant's statement that the property is well maintained, sanitized, complies with health and safety codes. The second point that the appellant makes is that we have, quote, hot and cold water. It may be true that there is water on the property. However, we know from our city's water department that their water was terminated on May 8th of 2024, and as of January 7th was still terminated. Because of that, I'm going to pause.
Welcome. Are you here for the Board of
From next door. here.
Building Regulation Appeals meeting?
No, it
appeal,
was
it's
a
a
neighborhood meeting.
Neighborhood meeting,
Oh, that's across the street in room 7.
and you change it on us.
Over there.
Yes, sir. It got changed because of this meeting here.
I was hoping that they were the appellants that were going to be joining us, but as I was saying, the second point of appeal was that they have hot and cold water. We know for a fact that the water service has been discontinued due to non-payment in May of 2024, and as of January 7th was still shut off. There is a well on the property. However, there is a statement of certification for that well saying it is for external use only. It is not potable water and cannot be used within the property. Therefore, staff would submit that the appellant's second point of appeal should also be rejected. Lastly, the appellants state, and this is a quote and it's long and I apologize. Quote, "The city is lack of responsibility to maintain the surrounding neighborhoods caused our property infected by homeless people and randoms people from the public. They are intruding our property, causing unsafe conditions to our life conditions." I'd like to stop there for a moment because the appellant states that there are unsafe conditions on their property. Their first point of appeal was that the property was safe. So the appellant has contradicted themselves within their own appeal. Going on. For example, the homeless people living in the dumpster shed next to our property at Rite Aid parking lot, they are living there unsafe. They pee and poo in the dumpster and the parking lot, causing rat infestation and all kinds unsafe conditions affecting our property. They leave their garbages in our property, stole ours and others' neighbors' belongings as well. End quote. Looking at the photos that we have, looking at the aerial photos, and in looking at the other points of appeal, staff rejects this argument as being diversionary and a distraction. Clearly, there are property maintenance responsibilities that apply to this property. Clearly, they do not have water service at this point in time. And based upon that, staff requests that the board find for the city and against the appellant in this appeal and uphold the city's issuance of a notice to vacate. The code enforcement officer that has assigned this case, Megan Lackey, is here with me. If you have any questions, and if you have any questions for me as well, that concludes our presentation.
Megan, when you went out, you've been out to the property more than one time, I take it.
Yes, I've been out for posting reasons and also to be able to take from the frontage pictures of the exterior. I have not been able to go into the actual primary house at 961 Stony Point, and I haven't been able to go to the rear exterior.
Okay, so we're basing this on what we see on the exterior of the house, which is obviously quite a bit.
Correct, and then including the GIS, this code case, I believe is from 2018 was when it opened. So it has already gone through our own code enforcement administrative hearing for similar trash and debris nuisances violations. And so that went to administrative hearing. It had its own separate enforcement order. The case is ongoing because the property reverted back.
They never mitigated?
No. Long answer short, no, because the case is still open. In regards to water, the water for 961 Stony Point, that's where in the process of us creating a new administrative hearing packet, we were notified by water billing that the water department was going to shut off their water due to lack of payment.
Question for Lou. I asked the question before the hearing, and you said as of January 7th, the water is shut off. Have they tried to apply for a new water?
I'm not aware of any
No.
effort.
So I've, not to butt in,
Please.
but I have to continuously update Lou and Jimmy in the process because I do know that this appeal hearing was happening to have the most current information. As of last week, there still was no current water at the property.
Other utilities, PG&E is on. Electricity?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what the interior looks like for 961 Stony Point. There's tarps on the roof, there's chairs. There could be, usually when we see tarps on the roof, that kind of indicates that there's some sort of water leak or roof leak, or there could be moisture damage. So as far as utilities go with heat, I couldn't say for sure. But I did look, last time I looked at Recology, it did appear that there was no trash service for 961 Stony Point, yeah. But again, that requires a deeper dive, but that is still a code violation, as within City of Santa Rosa, we do require Recology or trash services.
Do they own that property?
They do.
What ends up happening if we uphold the order to vacate?
So there is an ADU on the property that I believe that they are currently residing in. If you uphold the notice in order to vacate on the primary 961 Citus address, they can't stay in it until they get the water services back on.
And the garbage removed?
Yeah, that's a full property parcel violation. The main Citus address for both the ADU and 961 is 961 Stony Point. So yes, that is ongoing. They need to remove the trash and debris and rubbish, and they do have to allow me to do an interior inspection because of substandard condition complaints that we received, including rodent infestation, to make sure the health and safety of the structure itself is present. Even though it potentially is owner occupied, we still have to make sure that it's safe. So.
If, is the water service hooked up? Does the ADU have separate water service?
The ADU does have separate water service. It is under, I believe it's 961B. But if you look at on our GIS, I believe it's the Citus address for the ADU is separate. It's not 961B.
That's a separate meter.
Yeah, so there's some discrepancies.
959.
959,
Who
so
occupies the ADU?
I don't know. I believe it would probably most likely be the property owners. As far as I know, they're the only ones that reside on the property, but again, I haven't been able to do any further investigative work because I'm at what I am.
Because we haven't been allowed access.
Yeah.
And there's also some question, not to contradict Megan, but there's some question as to whether both residences are served by the same meter. And I'm leaning towards that as being the case. And if that's the case, then that would mean that neither residence has water. Again, they may be taking water from the well, but their own certification says that water is not potable water.
Okay.
And if they're solely occupying the ADU and nobody's occupying the single family home, that's in conflict with the ADU rules, right?
Well, they're not renting out the main unit. That would cause a problem, but I don't think there's anything that would prevent them from living in it otherwise.
Okay.
Can we go back? You had a GIS view of the thing.
Yes,
Can we take a look at that?
absolutely.
On the mouse pointer all around the perimeter, approximate perimeter of the property.
I'm trying to get to the part of the screen that allows me to maximize it, and the sharing is in the way. Come on.
That's how it works.
Well, okay, it looks pretty good on your screen anyway. So backing out just a little bit. There's the extent of the property. You can see the property lines here.
Okay, that's what I was asking, and that's the
Yeah,
problem.
it has an odd little jog here that shows what appears to be their driveway area is in the public right of way. I don't know if that's correct or not, but for purposes of this action, it's irrelevant. But going in on the property, you see the main unit. And quite clearly, there are some maintenance problems here. This aerial was taken in 2022. Again, code enforcement has been involved with this property more or less continually since 1995 for the same issues that just keep recurring. So
Okay, so do you know where the ADU is?
the ADU is this structure here.
Okay, that looks.
which appears to have been built on the back of a detached garage, if I read this
Okay, so
correctly.
that's the detached garage, okay.
Lou, can you bring up any of the attachments?
I can.
Okay. I'm particularly interested in attachment 4 and 5.
Welcome. Are you here
Hello.
for the Board of Building Regulation Appeals meeting? Oh, join on in. Take a seat at the table if you'd like, or
Thank you.
may I ask, are you just general public or are you part of the appeal?
Citizen.
Okay, thank you.
Here's the one I want. No, I'm sorry, which attachment did you want to see? sir?
Attachment 4 and attachment 5.
Attachment 4. Share that.
Because you said this area was done in 2022. That area was just done in December and January.
Apologize, this machine is lagging just a little bit.
Yeah, that one likes to be real slow.
Thank you.
All right, I'm seeing it. I'm not sure why you're not.
Share the wrong.
Let me try it again.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So this is attachment 4, and it's got several pages.
Correct?
And is there an image in particular you're interested
I
in? seeing?
want to see all of them. I'll
Okay.
scan through all of them. Appreciate it.
So this is the posting of the property. These are taken from the sidewalk area. Sidewalk area. This is looking back the northerly side of the property. You can see the garage that we mentioned in the background and the principal residence to the left. Some more vistas.
You took those pictures?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Thank you.
And that's the end of that attachment right there.
And that was December this year,
December of last year.
or
Just-
excuse me, December.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was at the time the notice was posted, which was, December. And then attachment 5. I'm gonna have to do this again. I apologize. It's. All right, get rid of that. So these photos were taken on January 3rd, 2025. So they're the most recent set taken by the city. So again, the front of the property. I apologize that they're oriented sideways.
We'll turn sideways.
I think I may be able to fix that. There we go. Looking at the front of the main house. The lower photo there is looking down the driveway towards that garage that's in front of the ADU. And that's the last photo from that set.
Thank you.
So, any further questions? Okay, I would like to open a public comment on this item. Recording Secretary, do we have any public comment?
Ma'am, since you're our only public in
Oh.
here, would you like to comment on this?
I'm sorry I'm late. I had to go home and get something. No, I don't have any comment. It looks like a real mess. No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, though. Seeing no comments, we can go ahead and close that one.
What's that?
And
are
I'm
there
sorry,
any
I
Final
didn't.
questions or comments from the board? For the staff?
Just again, that we would request respectfully that you find for the city and deny this appeal, that you authorize the city to continue with its action and uphold the notice in order to vacate.
Okay, well, the way that we get things done in this thing is somebody makes a motion and then we vote on it. Okay, so would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we will deny the appeal and that the city continue on with its action. And what was the last thing you said, Luke?
And uphold the notice in order to vacate.
Uphold the notice in order to vacate.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Recording secretary, any discussion on the motion? Okay, recording secretary, could you please reread the motion?
Yes, thank you, Chair Cooper. So the motion is to deny here, let me get to the right spot. Deny the appeal tendered by Gary and Lily Pigsley and uphold staff's issuance of notice and order to vacate. And with that, I will take a roll call vote. Board Member Gordon,
And I vote means that we're accepting,
the denial of the appeal.
so I
Yes.
vote aye.
Okay, and Board Member Lawson?
Aye.
And Board Member Miller and Chair Cooper?
Aye.
Let the record reflect that denial is approved with all ayes.
Is there any further business before the board? Ma'am, did you want to say anything or did you just want to see what we were doing?
Well, I thought it was gonna last till 7 o'clock, or I probably wouldn't have worked so hard to get here today. But no, I'm just very concerned about the building in Sonoma County, Santa Rosa. And I was at the county meeting on Friday in Sebastopol, and it was an excellent meeting. All the tops of the county were there, and it was a citizen meet the top of our county officials. And I did speak before the board yesterday because while we were there, LA was burning. And it's becoming an overwhelming problem. And I've been here a long time. I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things that went ahead and got done that shouldn't have. I have a long history with the county. I have a fairly good understanding of building, and I'm often questioned about engineering stuff that people that should know don't know. And I try to speak up. I just ran for city council recently, and people say, why the hell are you doing this? Well, I did it because I'm a person that stands up for things, and I've been doing it for a long time. And I think it's finally time that I see in my own voice and start saying no to things that have been going on. And one of them, now this is all, see, aren't you sorry you asked me to talk? But this is the thing, that running for city council was quite an eye opener. And it was very, very interesting for me. And it was the week before the election that I found out that the house that my parents built, that we had lived in since 1961, was in my own district. And that was extremely disturbing to me. So I couldn't do much about it at that point. I did happen to knock on a city council member's door while I was campaigning. But anyway, that was sort of a game changer too. But coming back to the building, we can't hear. We've been first in a lot of things, and I can't name them off the top of my head right now, Santa Rosa and the county. And we need to continue to be first in the things that we have been able to do and the things we can do going forward. And one of those things is we can't continue to build on every green space that becomes available. The floodplains and the fire areas have been defined. We've seen them now. We know what they are. And I know some of the jobs, I call it a job, really big developments that have been denied at this point. And there's, disappointment, there's economic blowback from these things, but we have a great place that we live here. I was also on a board for things back in the 80s, But we have a great place and we want to keep it a great place. And that's all I'm going to say for now. But anyway, I hope that it can be understood in a deeper way because it's really important. And we have it and we want to keep it. It's where the Indians live.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Do we have no other business before the board? Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.